Predstavljamo vam Super Brands Shopping Klub, jedinstvenu kombinaciju pogodnosti i privilegija. Baš svakog člana vodimo na jednu od 4 atraktivne destinacije. Doživite Barcelonu, doživite Siciliju, doživite Pariz, doživite London. A u naredne 3 godine uživajte u tisućama posebnih ponuda probranih brendova i VIP tretmanima u najboljim restoranima i hotelima. Posjetite superkartica.com i postanite član Super Brands Shopping Kluba. Super Brands Shopping Klub. Sve na jednom mjestu.
Poštovani gledatelji, večeras u emisiji GlazbeEgo upoznat ćemo vas sa HGM Big Band Orkestrom Zagreb, kojeg će vam predstaviti njihov dirigent i umjetnički voditelj Ziggy Feigl.
One, two. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Lower flugelhorns. Let's take everybody.
So Ziggy, you founded AGM Orchestra of Zagreb. So that is orchestra of Croatian, of young Croatian people who want to play jazz. So how did you come on that idea?
Actually, this was pretty much connected to the jazz summer school Boško Petrović was running in Grožnjan, and I was connected to Grožnjan already since 1984 because that was the first time I was there as a student. Because my teacher from the university in Graz, Karl-Heinz Miklin, was teaching down there in Grožnjan, and he said I should come down there for a 2 weeks workshop. And so 84, it was my first time in Grožnjan as a student there already.
It was year that I was born.
Yeah. So And then in year 2000, Boško Petrović called me if I would be available to come back to Grožnjan as a teacher, because we were always in contact, Boško and myself, with my private big band, the Big Band Süd. He was a soloist there, and he brought also a couple of real jazz musicians to this band. So I was really pretty much in contact with Boško, and so he called me if I would be available in 2000 for teaching in Grožnjan down there. And that was the first time some kind of a big band was formed in Grožnjan out of the participants of the jazz summer school. And this was in 2000. I came back in 2001, and again somehow big band was put together. And then the musicians after the workshop came up and said, "Yeah, that's great to have a chance to play big band music at this workshop there, but we are doing this for 2 weeks, and then the whole year nothing is happening anymore again.
Yeah.
So it's everything is lost." And so they were asking if there's any chance to go on with this kind of big band music. So Dubravka Dujmović-Kujan, the executive director of Šenes Muzikal Croatia here, asked me if I could imagine to run this band all the time or during the year. And I said, yeah, there is still something I could imagine. And then we sat together for a couple of times and thought about the possibilities and the needs for something like that. And then finally, we in February 2002, it was the first gathering together of the official HDM Jazz Orchestra Zagreb. And the first meeting for sure was in Grožnjan that time too. So it was in winter time in Grožnjan, about nobody was there. We cooked by ourselves and sitting together and rehearsing a little bit on jazz and things like that. And we started really on a very low level, so that because nobody was really educated at that time, and we started very low level. And what I said to Dubravka Dujmović, that if I'm running a band like that, first thing I'm really asking for is an ongoing concert series. So that was my most important thing, that I said, okay, the band has to play regularly on a concert series, because otherwise it will not develop that fast and that much I want to have. So this was my first wish, to have a concert series, and that was the reason this Sunday night concert series started, because I said I want to play every first Sunday month a concert, and it has to be every month a different concert. So they had to learn in 1 month a complete new program again.
Wow.
So it started from 2003. We started in October our concert series, which is lasting up to now.
So how much support did you get from Boško Petrović?
Boško Petrović for sure supported the band very much in the beginning, because the band was more or less created in Grožnjan, and this was his big thing there in Grožnjan. We came back to Grožnjan almost every year, 2003, 2004 and 2005, and played concerts there in Grožnjan. Some of the concerts we played even out of Grožnjan. We went to Poreč or Buzet or whatever, and played concerts in Novigrad or in Rovinj. And some of these concerts, even Boško was a soloist with the band, so he was traveling with us. And so he was always very supportive, and that's somehow also Boško's thing, that he tried to teach young people and involve young people with jazz. And so it was also his big wish to make jazz happening live wherever it's possible. So he was also a very jazz affiliated person, and so he supported the band definitely.
How was to work with Boško?
How was to work with Boško? First of all, I have to say Boško in general was a very sweet person. So, but for sure he could be a grumpy person too. I didn't have any problem with Boško, because he accepted myself as a musician, accepted myself as a person, and as a hardworking person, and a hardworking person in the right direction. So I didn't have any big problem with Boško. For sure, Boško was a very leading person, and so he did not accept too much surrounding him. Or sometimes he did not accept musicians around him, and he but he told this very clear, and so that is also a good thing on Boschke, that he was very clear with his opinions and very clear here with statements and say, okay, I want to do this and I don't want to do this. This is good and this is not good for me. And so it was very clear and obvious when you worked with Boschke together. But on the other hand, there was not any kind of such a jazz musician around. He was one of the real great jazz musicians in Europe. So he was one big hero in all Europe. So nobody could play the vibraphone like him. So that's definitely.
Do you think that Croatia knew him good enough?
Actually, what I got from the overview about the jazz scene, that he was a big hero in Croatia too, and that he was really well established here in Croatia as a gray eminence in jazz, Boschke. So, and he had his own club here in Zagreb, which unfortunately is not running this times, but I hope it will reopen soon, because it's really needed in Croatia to have this BP club there. And it's a big thing for Boschke, and I think it would be a pity if the club closes down completely.
Do you miss his support now?
For sure, it's a little bit this, that he always was. Even the last years, he was not supporting it directly as playing as a soloist with us or something like that. But he was always talking about the band and talking in good manner. And when we played, I think it was 2009 or 2010, it was the last time when we played with the HM Jazz Orchestra in Zagreb. He was still there. So he was really happy to hear the orchestra and how the orchestra developed, and he congratulated the orchestra very much. And so he was supporting the orchestra in his spirit, and if some people were asking him about the orchestra, he always spoke very well about the orchestra, and this is also some kind of support for the band. So
that's important.
Yeah, for sure.
So 2003 you started with the Sunday night concerts.
Yes, this season.
How was that?
This was really, it's a very special concert series, because we started this concert series in Capitol Center. There was some kind of cultural stage in the Capitol Center, and we had to move everything down there, all the chairs and the sound equipment, and so we did everything by ourselves. But I still wanted to have a small, intimate club atmosphere for the band.
How did you did it?
There was some fauteuils, some little tables there, and it was a small room, and so it was really nice club atmosphere there in Capitol Center. And when we started to think about this concert series, I went with Dubravko Dujmovic through different places in Croatia, in Zagreb, and searching for the right place for this concert series. And so our first series we played in Capitol Center there, and it was really a nice place. And unfortunately, this cultural place closed down there before we started our second season. And this was a really funky situation, because when we just got known about this situation, I think it was 3 or 4 weeks before the second season started. We got noticed that the place where everything was planned to be there again the whole year, and so it was. And then we got noticed that the place is closed down; it will not reopen. So we were 4 weeks before the first concert. We did not know where to play, and then we started to search again for a place. And luckily enough, we could get Tvornica in that time. So we played for 1 year in Tvornica. Every Sunday, and there was just a problem that they had always Saturdays some different big concerts, so we just could start Sunday morning to set up all the stage. And as Tvornica is pretty big, we tried to cover it a little bit smaller down there, and had to put some curtains on, some decoration on, and so we were working 4 to 6 hours before the concert just to make the thing happening there, and this every first Sunday month. So this is somehow the real deal. So we had to work a lot for that, but luckily enough we had this place to play there. How was the audience? Audience was pretty good in Tvornica. We had a lot of young people there, because the place is somehow connected to young audience, with this lot of rock concerts there and things like that. But still we had our well-settled Zagreb jazz audience. For example, very often Milenko Prohaska was there, who is a also one of the great eminence in jazz, a great composer, a great conductor, a great musical person here in Zagreb, and I'm still happy that he's still around and still is writing, and so he was a great supporter in spirit also of the Asian Jazz Orchestra Zagreb.
If you compare the audience when you were in Capital Center and then after in Tvornica, did the audience increase?
It was increasing audience. Sometimes in Tvornica it was even around 200, 250 people in Tvornica for one of our concerts. So this is really nice for something like that, having a jazz concert with a youth band. That was really great. And in Tvornica we succeeded also to have sometimes schools coming there to the concert. So some classes came with a lot of kids there. So that's the reason we're also trying to have some educational program with the AGM Jazz Orchestra all the time. So that's awesome.
How was the program?
The program was always connected to the idea I settled up in the first season. The idea is, first of all, playing a different program every first Sunday month. The next situation is that we are also covering the historical jazz scene. So sometimes we're playing programs from Count Basie, Duke Ellington, Stan Kenton, Woody Herman, all these Thad Jones, all this different kind of music. And the third aspect of the program is always to invite world-known guest artists into the program. For example, in Tvornica, Randy Brecker was playing down there. Or in Tvornica, also John Riley and Earl Gardner from the Thad Jones Mill Lewis Big Band had been playing there. So really world-renowned jazz musicians were guests of the AGM Jazz Orchestra Zagreb.
To bed, thoughts are rushing to my head. The moments and the times we shared, the things we said, the things we did, and I know our love is still alive. More than any spoken word describes. When I hear you on the phone, you're away. When the sunshine dries it dew, and even when I'm feeling blue, the thought of you dispels the fear. Your lips, your eyes, your smile so dear, and I know that our love's still alive. More than any spoken word describes. When I hear you on the phone, you're away and I'm alone. I know What a band!
And how did the orchestra manage to play all that?
I think that's also one of my little qualities, that I know exactly when it's time for what. So because nowadays we are inviting musicians. If I would have invited these musicians I'm inviting now for the HM Jazz Orchestra Zagreb already, if I would have invited them already 5 years ago, then it would be a too high level. And I always want to set a level right at the place where the musicians still can reach the level, so that they are not unhappy about their quality. So it's quite high always, and it's not easy for them to reach it, but it's not never out of sight. So that they say, well, we can survive with that music. So I'm quite good, I think, in programming all that at the right place. And doing and for us also inviting the right musicians to the band. So.
Who did the arrangements for them?
For whom? For the jazz orchestra?
Yes.
If we have guest soloists, they are bringing these arrangements with them. So sometimes they send the music ahead. All these historical arrangements I have by myself. So I have a library of 4,500 big band arrangements at home. And so I have a really big library of all big band arrangements around. So that's not a big problem for myself. And as I said, the guest soloists, they bring a lot of the arrangements by themselves.
Nice, nice. And then after Tvornica, what happened with orchestra?
After Tvornica, we again had to remove.
Why?
Or not, no, we didn't have to remove. We had been invited by the radio station to play a concert series at the Studio Bajsic in Harate.
Nice.
This was really nice. And actually, the first concert ever happened in the new Studio Bajsic was played by the HM Jazz Orchestra Zagreb. So we opened the studio more or less. And this was a really remarkable concert because it was together with Yellow Jackets, a fantastic band from the United States, where Bob Mintzer is the mastermind somehow, but it's also Russell Ferrante on the piano, or Jimmy Haslip on the bass, and Marcus Belo on the drums. It was a great concert, great musicians, and the first ever concert in the new built Studio Bajsic there.
Fantastic.
And it was also good because from that time on, there were already some recordings and some live transmissions from the concert in Capitol Center and concert in Tvornica. But from that time on, all the concerts had been live on the TV and on the radio, and some of them were also recorded in the TV.
Fantastic.
And so we had a chance to play for a couple of years in the Harate studio there in Studio Bajsic.
Nice.
This was really nice. Unfortunately, this were quitted 2 years, actually almost 3 years ago. We could not go on with the concert series there. It was not clear why we had to leave the Studio Bajsic, but it was a decision from the radio that this concert series cannot happen anymore there. And then first year after Bajsic, we moved to Studentsky Center in Zavska and had a concert series there with great artists, for example, Toshiko Akiyoshi. She's one of the jazz icons in big band history anyway. Was with the HM Jazz Orchestra Zagreb. Joseph Bowie was in Capitol Center, Cheryl Rogers, and so really a lot of world-named musicians had been with them.
But now I cannot help myself not to ask one question. You bring so many celebrity persons here. Yeah. You bring such a great artist. You did very good quality. So why they put you in Studentsky Center? Why they didn't make a very good, put you in some very good hall somewhere there is in Zagreb?
That's a question I cannot answer because I have the same question. Why we don't get the support to perform with this? For example, as I said, Toshiko Akiyoshi, who is one of the most well-known jazz artists in New York, had her own big band. This is really one icon of jazz, big band jazz, and she had to perform on a bad piano in Studentsky Center.
It's such a shame for Croatia because we have good pianos in Croatia.
Yeah, for sure, we have good pianos. But after Studentsky Center, we had to move ourselves because we were supposed to play in the famous new VIP club, but it was not ready at that time, and so we were not asked to be there. So we had to find in between of a couple of weeks a new place, and it's not that easy to say, okay, we need a place where a big band fits in. It has to be in Zagreb. It should not cost tremendously a lot of amount of money. It has to be free every first Sunday in month. And should have a piano there. So these are all things you have to think about.
And how did the orchestra react? How did
the orchestra is always happy when we have a chance to play there. And after Studentsky Center, we moved to Kazalište Lutaka. So we played every Sunday evening there because happily they don't have shows in Sunday evenings. They have shows in Sunday noon, and evening it's free.
But that was place. Better.
That's a nice place, Kazalište Lutaka. It's a very nice jazz place too.
But where do you have rehearsals?
Most of the time nowadays we have the rehearsals in Studentsky Center at the river there, Studentsky Center. And that's the Kino Forum, Studentsky Center. That's a pretty good rehearsal place. So we are lucky to have that. And we can use this rehearsal place because we are giving more or less the Studentsky Center a cultural program with the HMA band, was the additional band we formed 2 years ago. And so that's our rehearsal place and the concert place. After Kazalište Lutaka for 1 year, we had been now really lucky to have Lisinski Hall for the last year, and it seems that we can stay in Lisinski Hall for this concert series, and that's really, Lisinski Hall is the best jazz place.
Maybe I can say that the Lisinski Hall can be happy to have you there.
Yeah,
and to be proud and happy.
They can. I think they are happy, and we are happy too. So it's a win-win situation. So everybody's happy about that.
I was on the concert with John Fechok, and I was amazed. What you do is fantastic, and it's great. You can really feel the energy, the love that the young, I should say kids still, because
some of them are really young.
Yeah. And they play fantastic with their heart. They don't care. They play and enjoy in that. So how did you achieve that very young people?
Yeah, but what can I say? Again, it's my big thing is that having an orchestra, it's also important to have the right emotional thing on the orchestra. So I'm very carefully whom I'm inviting to play in that orchestra. I'm trying to be very careful in working with them. I try not to teach them about behavior, but it's important for me that people are behaving in the right way, and also also on the rehearsals and things like that. Additionally, I try to show them how I approach the music, and just to give them an example how hard I'm working with the music and how serious I'm taking the music. It's not that I'm always angry about the music, but I'm just taking it serious. I don't want to make fun out of it. So I want to be happy with the music, and you just can be happy if you're very serious about that. And so that's the things I try to teach the orchestra, and also I try to teach them that being or having fun with the music and having a good time needs also some investment, and so that's also I try to give some social aspect always on that. For example, when I started with the orchestra, we went together for bowling, we went together on a go-kart place and things like that. So I just wanted to give them a feeling that they are together as a band, and the important thing that it's not just 18 musicians on the stage, they're playing the same time the same music. It should be somebody where everybody's playing for each other, and they like to be together. And that's the good thing on the HM Jazz Orchestra Zagreb, that we're not playing every day together, so it's always a couple of days, sometimes a couple of weeks during the time we're playing together. but everybody's incredibly happy seeing the other musicians there. So they're really they're looking forward every week. Okay, now finally we go to play again, and so this is the emotional thing I need in our orchestra. Not bullshit. But how long the rehearsal will last? No, hopefully it's finished already. So that's.
Mostly they are colleagues from Graz, from the university.
Yeah, a lot of them, they know themselves from Graz because a lot of them are studying or had been studying in Graz. And so anyway, they are together already for years. And we are pretty lucky with the lineup of the HM Jazz Orchestra Zagreb because the last 5-6 years it's not so much changed in the band. So here and there some musicians had to leave because they are going somewhere else, but the last years it's pretty the same lineup of the band, and that's also important because as more the band plays together, the better the band plays.
How is if some young boy or girl want to enter to this orchestra?
Entering to the HM Jazz Orchestra Zagreb is pretty hard because it's already on a very high level. So that's and that was the reason that Šenes Muzikal, Croatia, Hrvatska Glazbena Mladež came up and to found a new band, so the HMA band. This is more or less a starters big band, and in the HMA band, actually everybody who wants to play jazz in a big band format, he can apply for the band and can come to the band.
Oh,
and so we had a lot of young musicians there, over 13, 14, 15 years old, and playing in this band. And we are also doing a concert series with that band. So what I mentioned in the Studentski Center in PAOK, Studentski Center Kino Forum, we're playing 4 concerts per season with the HMA band, rehearsing with the band, having young musicians there, having also musicians they normally not have a place in a big band. For example, we have 2 or 3 violins in the band because the violin players say, okay, we want to play jazz too, and so there are violin players
from
in the band.
Zagreb.
From Zagreb here, yeah.
Really?
And so they're involved into that band, and
They're from academy or?
I think one is Lucia Stanojevic.
Yes.
Lucia Stanojevic. She's from academy, and Marko First, he's playing there.
So how they find themselves in jazz?
They came because they heard about this HMA band and they can be a part of that, and so they said, okay, let's play. And I'm writing special scores for them, and so they're a part of the jazz band and trying to improvise and playing, and they're doing very well. So that's very, very fine. And for this A band, everybody can apply more or less. So if somebody's interested, just call the office of Hrvatska Glazbena Mladež and say, okay, I'm interested, and then we are seeing how it goes on.
Oh, that's really great.
And the concert series with the HMA band, as I said, we are playing 4 concerts a year. And the special on that concert is also that we're always inviting additional big bands in performing in the same concert. So we have always 2 bands in the same place. Yes. And this is also more or less supporting amateur big bands in performing jazz together. So we have the big band from Karlovac there, and the big band from Baška Voda down there came up here to play with us. Or from Slovenia, 2 bands came here. From Austria, a big band came here, and so we're performing together. It's always the first set with the HMA band, and the second set is more or less a guest orchestra we're inviting for this concert. And yeah, that's Big Band Samobor was there, and so that's the idea of this concert series with the HMA band.
How do you see the future with the AGM orchestra, big band orchestra?
The future of AGM Jazz Orchestra Zagreb is hopefully a future of long years, but for sure we are struggling a lot with the money situation because the support is
Why?
always because the support from the government or from the city is still there, but is always cut it more and more. So the support goes always down, and out of the level of the orchestra, the support would be needed even more. And now the support goes down and the level of the orchestra goes up, and this means this is a little disbalance of having the possibility to work on this kind of a professional level.
But this is a little bit nonsense for me.
For sure you can call it a little bit nonsense. The situation is we are trying somehow to move the HGM Jazz Orchestra Zagreb to an official orchestra somehow, because I think the city of Zagreb even deserves a real good professional jazz orchestra.
Yes.
And so if the city of Zagreb would come to the mind and say, okay, let's have a jazz orchestra, then because the city of Zagreb is supporting the Philharmonic Orchestra, and why not supporting also official jazz orchestra?
Yes.
It's way less musicians than a Philharmonic Orchestra, I can say. It's just 17 or 18 musicians there, and the Philharmonic is around 120 musicians or something
But you're
like that.
really great, you deserve that.
Yeah, this is something, there are for sure different perspectives. I think also so the musicians, first of all, deserve that they are more or less on a professional working basis. That means that they get professional rehearsal places, professional concert things, and my private investment in the band is really a couple of €1,000 every year. I'm just investing in the band because I pay for all the music by myself, and
Really?
and yeah, for sure that's all my private thing. But it would be good if there could be established a real jazz orchestra Zagreb, let's say like that. So like other cities have something like that. But this always depends on the right person on the right chair in some of the official places like city or government or whatever.
Do we have right persons on the right chairs?
Unfortunately, I didn't meet them right now, up to now. But I'm always looking
For 10
forward
years.
to it. I'm always looking for.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, but
Where are they?
where are they? Yeah, so that's for sure a question. But I know that it's hard to get the sponsorship for cultural events, and we're somehow also looking on probably finding a private sponsor for something like that who is who says, okay, these people work so hard and they deserve some kind of support. And for sure there could be some private people, they have the chance to support something like that.
How can they support you?
There are different possibilities. There are either a lot of small support is also a big support, or some big support. For sure, it's always the question about the money situation. So, because if you say, okay, the HM Jazz Orchestra Zagreb, there are musicians, a lot of them not coming directly from Zagreb, so they have to travel here, they have to sleep here, they have to eat something. So these are just the minimal things that we have to find money for. Because if you go for just for a lunch with the whole big band,
Yes,
it's a lot of money. It's
yeah.
quite a money. And if you want to support some drinks, just water to the rehearsal, or if you want to buy a drum set for the band, this is quite a lot of money. Thanks God for the instruments, we get a lot of support through Yamaha, and they are supporting the band. So we got a drum set, we got a baritone saxophone and piano from Yamaha sponsored for the band, and that's really a great deal. But all other things, music stands, as I said, all the music and things like that, that's a lot of money, and up to now it's more or less all my private investment in the band. I could have built a big house with the money I invested in HDM.
Can you imagine? How much money do you need for the next season?
Let's say to run the HM Jazz Orchestra Zagreb more or less as a professional band, what it would deserve somehow, professional, not in the way that they are getting all contracts and having make a living out of the band, but professionalized, that they're getting the money they deserve for concerts, for rehearsals, and a professional surrounding with some kind of management and some kind of public relation and promoting things and doing all that things around. It's around 1 million kuna is somehow this.
For 1 year.
This is for 1 year what we would need for going on a regular basis somehow with the orchestra. And I think if, for example, the city of Zagreb are seeing, okay, they're getting a couple of concerts there, and more or less the band could be a representative orchestra which you can send somewhere out in abroad and say, okay, if there is something important happening in some other cities in Europe, we send the jazz orchestra as a cultural ambassador of Zagreb, and the band is already on a very high level, I can say. They are really on a very high level.
How much money do you get from Zagreb, from the city?
Actually, these are all questions you have to ask the management, or not the management.
Do you get something?
We get something from the city, we get something from the government, from ministry and things like that. But
do you think you can get more from them?
I know that we get less than we ever got for them, so I think there are... again, this question I can't answer. You have to ask this the people in the government.
Because for me, when I came on the concert, surely I can say to our people in Croatia that really this orchestra, we have to be proud and very thankful to you and all the guys from the big band and from the organization that we have that kind of band in Croatia. Really?
Yeah, I think it's very unique, and the band has already some kind of a name. If you're asking in Austria, there a lot of people know about this band, and so that the band has already some kind of important things to tell from Croatia and say, okay, this happened here in Zagreb, and this grew up here in Zagreb, and Zagreb was the initial point of such a big and such a great orchestra. Yeah, if the city and the government could more or less think about that to support this band really in a valued status, then it would be great for us.
So then we can invite our dear audience to contact you, to support you on any level they can. Everything is very welcome.
Everything is welcome, and it's also a support if they are just attending the concert and going to the concert, buying some tickets there and listening to the music, buying CDs, and every little support. So it's not that I'm asking everybody to support with a couple of €100,000, because I know that's not possible for everybody. But if there is some kind of a lot of people are going on the same way and supporting in the same direction, then even if the single support is very small, but if a lot of them are doing the same thing, then it's a big support again. So I hope that we can achieve this somehow, because for sure, if there's not enough support around, the musicians will spread out and leave the orchestra somehow, and it will disappear. And it's now already on such a high level and such a good emotional place that it would really a pity to lose this orchestra in Croatia and in Zagreb. So this would really a pity.
So the CDs, how many CDs do you have?
Up to now we recorded 3 or actually 4 CDs with HM Jazz Orchestra Zagreb. The first CD we did, this was an homage to the Beatles, so it's called HM Plays the Beatles. All Beatles songs arranged by Alan Baylock and Mike Crotty. These are 2 really very renowned arrangers in Los Angeles, and they wrote all the arrangements for this CD. The second CD I'm really happy about is HM Plays Our Songs. So this is a CD where we took just folk songs from the different origins of the musicians, because we have musicians from Italy, from
Wow.
Austria, from Slovenia, from Croatia, from Macedonia, from Serbia, from Hungary. And so we took just folk songs of these places and rearranged them for the big band, all complete new arrangements also. And this is a very nice CD and very special, I can say.
Who did the arrangements?
These arrangements had been written two by Don Mensa, a great musician and arranger from Los Angeles, and the rest of them all were written by Michael Philip Mossman, trumpet player and arranger in New York, who wrote music for Tito Puente and was playing with Tito Puente and playing with all the New York big bands, and so he's one of the great arrangers and composers.
Was
and
it
trumpet players.
expensive to get them?
It was pretty expensive, but still it was a friendship prize for myself, because I know both of them very well. But for sure, the CDs, just to get, for example, the second CD together, it costed me around 20,000 euros private money to just to have the CD. But I'm happy to invest this, because I know it's also important to have some CDs around, because this is some kind of documentary. Okay, this band existed, we played this kind of music, these musicians were playing, and so this stays somehow. So everybody can, even in 50 years, can say, okay, this was the HM Jazz Orchestra Zagreb in the year 2010.
And third CD?
And the third CD is a CD with Christmas songs we did last year. All these arrangements were by Don Mensa, because we said we should have a Christmas CD, so we recorded a Christmas CD. Very nice arrangements by Don Mensa, and a pretty nice CD. And we did another CD, very Croatian or very Zagreb related, because Krešimir Herceg is a composer from here, from Croatia, Zagreb. And he did a project together with Sally Knight, a singer from England, and a couple of soloists like Petro Suave on the bandoneon and Bertelmeier on the harmonica, and also the Rucna string quartet was playing there, and Ivana Bilic was playing on the vibraphone. So he had a couple of soloists, and all his music were completely new arranged for a big band. And so we did, actually there are two CDs out of his music, and we arranged all that here in Zagreb. And so this is all in all 4 CDs more or less.
Fantastic, so we can really invite audience from Croatia to support you, to buy the CDs.
Yeah,
they're pretty special.
They are very special, all of them on the label of Aquarius Records, so they can find them in the stores.
And help
so
to the orchestra to
for sure.
exist.
Yeah.
Great, fantastic. And are you satisfied with the amount of audience that came on your concerts?
Yeah, actually, I'm satisfied with that. For sure, it could be always some more. Sometimes the Lesinski Hall is really full. Like for example, for the concert we did in memory of Boško Petrović last March, it was sold out 2 weeks before that, so we could not get any tickets anymore. Other concerts are not that full, but I'm pretty satisfied, and actually I'm satisfied about the location, because Lesinski Hall is a nice place to play concerts there. That's great.
For the next season, do you have a program?
Actually, I even have 2 different programs for the next season. So I gave the programs already to Gymnast Muzikalna Croatia, because they are more or less deciding about this things, because it's the official board of Gymnast Muzikalna Croatia who is deciding about that, because they also have to finance that thing. And so there are 2 different programs I thought about, and I hope that the financial support is obvious in that direction, that we can look safely in the future of the HM Jazz Orchestra Zagreb.
Ziggy, thank you very much to be our guest in our broadcast GlazbeEgo, and to help to young people in Croatia to become a really great musician.
Yeah, we are happy that there are some supportive places, and thanks for the invitation here to TV+.
Thank you.
Dragi gledatelji, nadam se da ste uživali u ovoj emisiji. Do sljedeće naše GlazbeEgo avanture za točno tjedan dana ostanite uz program TV Plusa.
Predstavljamo vam Super Brands Shopping Club, jedinstvenu kombinaciju pogodnosti i privilegija. Baš svakog člana vodimo na jednu od 4 atraktivne destinacije. Doživite Barcelonu, doživite Siciliju, doživite Pariz, doživite London. A u naredne 3 godine uživajte u tisućama posebnih ponuda probranih brendova i VIP tretmanima u najboljim restoranima i hotelima. Posjetite superkartica.com i postanite član Super Brands Shopping Kluba. Super Brands Shopping Klub. Sve na jednom mjestu.